was this tall girl, really shy.
I specifically remember Kayla and her sister coming to my school, and she was taller than me.
My family moved to Barrie from Scarborough.
And I was shocked and excited that there was somebody else there that looked like me.
My sister and I were the only black kids in our class.
And was tall. I consider myself one of her best friends, and I think as I've gotten older and more educated, I've started to understand my role as an ally.
I would say an ally is someone who stands up and uses their voice for others, even if they may not be part of that demographic. They want freedom and justice and equality for all. And I would say Nicole is definitely representative of that. Hello, my name is Kayla Alexander. I am an athlete, an entrepreneur, a mentor. So we grew up in Scarborough, and in our neighborhood it was very diverse. I had friends of all different races, ethnicities, and backgrounds. And then my family moved all the way up north to Barrie, and my sister and I were the only black kids in our class. And that was shocking because we were so used to diversity, and then we went from a melting pot essentially to being the only ones who looked like us. So that was definitely a culture shock for us when we moved up north. So how I remember our meeting, we were 12 years old, and I was in class, and I'll never forget, Nicole came up to me, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, you're so tall," because I was 5'8" at the time in grade 7, and she invited me to a basketball tryout with her. I was this tall girl, really shy. I was down and outgoing in the sense that I was willing to try new things, but I wasn't very outgoing socially. But Nicole was so welcoming, so kind, and she invited me to a tryout with her, and that's where our story began.
Hi, I'm Nicole Murphy. I am the founder and CEO of Tall Size, and I am a lifelong friend with Kayla and business partner with Kayla Alexander. I specifically remember Kayla and her sister coming to my school, and she was taller than me. And I was shocked and excited. The timing was interesting because there was basketball tryouts coming up, and so my first thought was like, I need to take Kayla to these basketball tryouts. She's gonna be so amazing. She had never touched a basketball before, so she was a little intimidated, but she was willing and open, which was really cool. It was a lot of practices, a lot of tournaments, overnight tournaments at hotels, so we got really close really fast. My favorite thing about our friendship is we've gone through so much from grade 7 or 8 or whenever it was until now when we're in our 30s that we've taught each other a lot along the way, which has been really cool.
At 12, you start to notice like, okay, not everybody looks like you, or wow, it's not as diverse as it used to be, but you don't really think about the intricacies or like the details of race relations and things like that. At 12, I'm just thinking, this is my friend. We like to hang out together, we play ball together. We love to just have fun with each other and have good conversations and support one another. I would say an ally is someone who stands up and uses their voice for others, even if they may not be part of that demographic. They stand up for what's right. They advocate for others. They want freedom and justice and equality for all. And I would say Nicole is definitely representative of that. I can't breathe! During the pandemic, everything that was taking place with Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, that was a very difficult and hard time. And she reached out and she was asking questions. She was eager. She wanted to know, how can I support you? What things should I be learning? What things should I be asking? What's correct? What isn't correct? Like, help me to understand. And I appreciate that because she wanted to know so she could do well, be better, and just be an ally and advocate for us. So to me, that means a lot, that someone who's willing to take the time to learn and who wants to support you.
I consider myself one of her best friends, and I hope, and I've always been somebody that she can go to with anything, and I think our friendship is that way, which is really, really cool. I think as I've gotten older and more educated, I've started to understand my role as an ally, which is kind of why I am curious, right? And I do ask her questions and make sure that I'm fully understanding things, or I can understand as much as I possibly can to support her in the best way that I can. I actually specifically remember reaching out to Kayla during the Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. I think for me it was just important knowing that I have such an important person in my life who was hurting at this time, and I just wanted to reach out to her to know like specifically what I could do honestly for her. I think that was my like #1 priority. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. I often don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these systemic racial issues. And so I just wanted to learn. I wanted to just get any information I could from her to be as supportive of a friend to her first and foremost.
The summer going into my senior year, my junior year of college, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do next. Like, I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but people were talking about the possibility of possibly playing pro. And I'll never forget, my dad calls me all excited. I'm like, did they win the lottery or something? He's like, guess what? I was like, what? He's like, your name's on the mock draft list for the WNBA. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you're the last name on the list. And he was just excited that my name was even on the list. That's when I started to realize, like, okay, this is a possibility. I could potentially play professional basketball. I kept working, told my coaches my goals, and they helped me and encouraged me, and my name slowly moved up the list throughout the year. And at the end of the season, I got drafted number 8 overall, which I think was a really happy moment for my parents. I know my dad always says that's one of his proudest moments, just hearing my name being drafted. I went and played pro all over the world. 4 years in Russia, a couple years in France, South Korea, Poland, Australia, Belgium. I tried out for the national team again, and then finally made it. And then 8 years later, it was 8 years in the works, I finally realized my dream of becoming an Olympian.
Nice cut by Alexander. And
even as I continued with basketball, she was always encouraging me. When I was struggling or having hard moments, she was there practicing and working with me. I don't think she ever let like our race be something that was a determining factor, because she's just a credible human being, just being her authentic self. She's always encouraged me, inspired me, and for that I'm thankful.
It wasn't until really like the last few years where our friendship started to come back together. It's just cool how we've been able to be friends for so long and go our separate ways, but then kind of come back to each other in the end. So Kayla and I are still really good friends and we became business partners. It's easy to get caught up in business and that's all you talk about, but we still talk about the boys, we still talk about the family, all that kind of stuff. And our business is kind of centered around the fact that we are 2 tall women.
So Tall Size is the first ever online marketplace and lifestyle brand that allows tall women to shop clothes and shoes that are actually designed for their bodies, because that is hard. We don't have the privilege of walking into a store and trying on clothes that fit. So yeah, shopping has been a nightmare, but we're changing that.
If you are Canadian and tall or know a tall Canadian woman, I'm sure she would love a pair of pajamas that actually fit her. No matter our height, our body size, anything, when we wear clothes that fit us nicely and we feel good and we look good, like you stand taller, you walk a different way, you carry yourself a different way, and you just feel so much more confident about yourselves. And I think Kayla and I were lucky to have parents who always celebrated our height. They never made us feel anything for being so tall. And we had basketball, which kind of glorified your height a little bit, right? And so we had those 2 things that helped us develop into very confident women, but not every tall woman has that. And so Kayla and I are just really passionate about finding whatever ways we can to make tall women feel as confident about themselves. Good job, Kayla! When I thought about like building this business, there's no one I would have rather kind of started this journey with than Kayla. Like, I think her and I balance each other out in a lot of really cool ways that make us a really solid unit when it comes to running a business together. And she's an Olympian. Like, if you're gonna start a business with anybody, like, Olympians have a certain mentality, a certain mindset, a certain work ethic that I knew she would be able to help me and support me a lot and teach me a lot of things along the way as well. I think the special thing is that I've been able to be a constant throughout all of Kayla's life.
Gift number 1 came before her introduction to the sport, the lifelong friend who first put her on a court.
It's a very special experience for me to be able to be the basketball friend, be a cool cartoon character, and then also be her business partner. I think that constant friendship and support is super rare, but really special. Like, everything I've been able to accomplish, I've been able to lean on her for advice and support. And I think it's kind of that, is just always knowing we've had each other, which is pretty cool.
2, 1, action.
The thing that I'm most proud of is the impact I've been able to have, and that's because of people like Nicole and my family who have been a constant, who always support me and who inspire me, because it's not always easy. Leaning on your village of people who really support you and care for you, whether it's your family, your friends, your coaches, your teammates. And it's really built up my character as well. And I truly believe that through the game of basketball, it's helped develop me into the person I am today.